Hi. I just watched episode 4 and there was some things I did very much want in that episode. Because episode 3, it was like, I wanted what episode 3 was. Like, because episode 3 was like lore and backstory. But I'm not sure anyone specifically wanted that sequence of events which happened in that, so it's a lot to take in, so I was a bit less excited after episode 3 for this episode, but like, it's a good episode. It's not like quite as there's been more of like a shift in emotions again, whereas episodes 1 and 2 I would say were they create excitement, create hype, and then episode 3 changes that sort of emotional tone, I guess you could say. And like, how do I articulate this? Everything's just a bit more tense. They were creating tension. That's what this episode was. So it's like, it's a bit less hype, and it's more like interesting and concerning. I mean, like, first off we get people's reactions to Oz's story, and for most of them that's pretty much what I expected. Like, I expected Yang to be angry, and for Yang to be angry, and then Weiss and Blake to be like, what was that? And RWBY to be sort of upset and sort of concerned, I guess you could say. And I even said, like, before I watched episode 4 in the reaction you might never see, is I was like, what the hell Crow's going to react to this? Because like, I was like, if my boss was keeping shady secrets like that with me, I'd be concerned. I'd probably be quite angry, and Crow is angry. I was like, oh, I don't know, I think he might be angry, I think he might be upset. Yeah. Oh wow. That was, I think I was a bit more, it's harder to be mad at Ozpin when he's in Oscar's body, because Oscar is like my son. He's a sweet farm boy. He's a good boy. So seeing Crow punch like Oz was rough. I just like, no, and seeing him cry, and I'm like, oh my god, like, because I don't like feel loads of sympathy for Ozpin, but I feel much more for Oscar. But like, so that was, wow. The internet's, oh my god, it's gonna have lost its mind over that, about Crow punching someone in a 14-year-old's body. A fantasy problem that doesn't exist in real life. Yeah, it's, I was one of those people who thought, like, I was one of those people that thought that Ozpin sort of, he's like the Dumbledore figure, so he like manipulated his students, like specifically Team Stark, into following his sort of orders, I guess you could say, in order to try and stop Sailor somehow. And this makes a lot of sense with that. I think, like, you could tell, like, I'm like a huge Raven fan, and I'm not like everything she does is okay, because she has done things which aren't okay, you know, like don't abandon your kid, don't kill kids. Those are my biggest moral concerns, really, with Raven. But like, so I sympathised with the Branwen twins already, and the reasons why I sympathised with Raven extend to Crow. So I 100% believe his reaction, and I think it's 100% justified, even if the punching was something. Because I think it's difficult to try and, because we've always seen Crow as we've only seen Crow as this age, and despite his alcoholism, he seems to be a bit more put together than some adults, because a lot of them are dead, I guess you could say, but not put together. He seems more cool. He doesn't quite have his act together. He's very much like a hot mess, but he's just, you don't really, I don't think people try to think of him as like the girls his age, because he went to the school probably at 17, like Weiss, Blake and Yang did, unless he was special like RWBY and skipped 2 years. We don't know. But so from 17 to whatever age he is now, when he said he's dedicated his life, like pretty much all of the years you can dedicate to a cause, he has. And that cause, well, it's not pointless. We know it's not pointless as the audience, but in his eyes, hearing the you can't beat Salem, you can't, what was it? You can't destroy Salem, I think the terminology was. You can't kill her. Something like that. It was quite specific. But that would, if it's like, yeah, your whole life has been meaningless, and you could have been spending it with the ones you loved before they died, like Summer, or if you haven't tried to, this cause, which you dedicated your life to this cause, where like, if none of you had dedicated to it, you might still have a relationship with your sister, you might still have your teammate alive, you know, like, it's, I mean, we never really know what would have happened if Team Stark hadn't have followed Ozpin. Like, we can never really be 100% certain. But I understand, because literally it's not just he's dedicated himself, but also all of his relationships have been ruined because of this cause. And the cause doesn't seem to have a clear goal. Like, obviously we know that Team RWBY, they're gonna do something. They're gonna affect the plot somehow. They're gonna make some leeway in trying to defeat Salem. But yeah, I was just saying, because people are gonna argue about whether Crow's reaction was justified. But yeah, pretty much. I'd punch someone too. I'd probably punch someone for less, if I'm being honest. But yeah, the only thing I didn't like about it was that Oscar is 14, but obviously it wasn't Oscar, it's Ozpin in his body, fantasy problems. But yeah, also the little, like, Oscar returning to, like, control in his body, and then just sort of, like, blinking back the tears, and then, like, put his hand to his face, where he realised that he had been punched and it hurts, and looking just, looked so upset. My heart. My poor boy. He's such a good boy. He doesn't deserve this nonsense. Oh, wow. My poor boy. It's going to be rough. Ozpin's he's just off somewhere, sulking in his room in Oscar's mindscape, I guess. Wow. I mean, yeah, I think it's a good idea for him to want to step back and take a minute. I probably would do if I had dug myself that deep a hole, you know. But at some point he's going to have to come back and answer everyone's questions. But I very much think that everyone should take a step back and try not to attract another small army of Grimm, especially when they have a relic that literally attracts Grimm at all times. Wow. Yeah, I also think all the teammates' reactions are justified, and I love how Ruby's just getting a bit more focus as a character. She really is, and sorry, I thought I heard something. It's just her reactions, especially where she's like, "I'm going to comfort Oscar," and then Crow's like, "Don't lie to him," and she looks upset, but she still wants to try and help. It's when I thought about developing Ruby as like a character, I didn't necessarily think about specific, like, I was thinking more about like character interactions and just letting her have more agency in the plot, which like they're doing. This isn't the build up to a complaint. I never really thought about comparing Ruby to Crow, because they've really got some similarities and stuff, and like I just didn't really think about it. But in hindsight, it's really interesting. It's great because Crow is a good guy, but he's morally dubious a little bit, and he's mostly what he is very cynical, which is very much understandable. He has not had a good life. I mean, he's had some people he loved in his life, but still, it could have gone a lot better. And Ruby's had things go wrong in her life, but in different ways. Like, Ruby's very much been raised with love. We don't know what Crow's situation is, but bearing in mind he hates the tribe and the people that raised him, I don't think that they did a good job, especially since Raven likes them and she's, well, morally grey? Let's go with that. So if the ideal thing in this tribe was to be a cold, ruthless killer that's focused on number one, then I can understand. I could sort of put the thing like 2 and 2 together. I don't think Crow's childhood was very pleasant. Especially if he attracts bad luck. I don't know how the tribe would have viewed him, but not particularly great, I can imagine. Unless he was useful, and even then, exploitation, not respect. But yeah, you can sort of see how these characters, they're very similar, but one has this very much so like love, and that sort of extends to some naivety, but also compassion with Ruby. And then with Crow, it's like he had grown up with a lack of love, and he's become quite cynical, and I think he does care, but it's just if you're cynical, even if you do care, sometimes you will just give up on things, like people. So it's quite an interesting sort of. I like the trend of comparing those two. It's going to be rough for Ruby. She's not going to like it because Crow's like her hero, her mentor figure. He taught her how to use the ridiculous but beautiful scythe she uses. I mean, as a writer, I love angst. Angst is beautiful. That's the wrong kind of kiss for that, but that's fine. It's going to be really satisfying to watch if Ruby becomes disillusioned with Crow. And because naturally she'll start to have. The writers are showing that she has automaton. I can't speak. What is this? Automaton. Let's get rid of that word. Agency. She has her own agency. Autonomy. That's it. I've got the word. Sorry about that. The writers are trying to push her as having her own autonomy. So separating her from Crow a little bit does that quite well. As well as just... It's quite important, I think, like... to have... It's shaking up the status quo and creating conflict is... Well, you can't have a story without it. You know? Otherwise it's just... like a thing that happened instead of like a story meant to engage. You know? Like there has to be a conflict that's like resolved to create a good story. That's in the vaguest sense. You don't even have to have a happy ending. I like a happy ending, but you don't even have to have that for a story. But something needs to be presented as a problem, and people have to try and work against that problem generally. And then character affects plot, and plot affects character, and it becomes a cycle, and you got it. And this episode is all about conflict. Nice. Can't wait for these characters to interact, and now that they're tense, we can have some good angsty interactions. Or one trying to comfort the other and have some really pure interactions. So like, I like both of those options. They're both very good. Because especially when at the start of the sort of series, episode 1, the girls seemed quite chummy, and like I don't have an issue with chummy. I want them to smile at each other and say they're there for each other, but I would also like certain talks to happen. Like, obviously, bees. I don't need to explain wanting a bee talk. I assume if you've watched any other RWBY video ever, you got it. So, that. But also we could get a good Weiss and Blake, because those characters have developed a lot in like the past 2 volumes, so them just relearning each other and bonding and becoming like even stronger, their relationship becoming even stronger than before would be lovely, because they've had their ups and downs, but now they've both become such good people that it would be nice to just have them as friends. Or like if they argue, to have it be, I don't know, I don't really want them to have a huge argument, Weiss and Blake, to be honest. Let's just have some banter, that's cute. Also, Blake and RWBY just doing anything. Please, Rooster Teeth, please. I want them to have a conversation. At least one. One-on-one would be ideal. Yeah. But I also wouldn't mind Weiss and Yang interacting. That was a lovely sort of dynamic that was sort of pushed forward during Volume 5, and I was like, you know what, I like this, I'll have this. I wouldn't mind a little bit more, you know? Yeah, that would be really sweet, especially like we've got these other characters as well. We've got Crow, they've got to sort out this thing with Crow, and they've got to sort out this thing with Oz, because Ozpin's just chilling in Oscar's brain somewhere. He's off, like crying, having a nap maybe. And then we've got Maria, which is interesting. And don't forget, we've also got Jin in the lamp. If they want to present her, they can literally just go, Jin! New character, new possibility for lore and backstory. There. So, yeah, there's going to be something juicy there in the next episode. So I'm looking forward to that. But I haven't forgotten about the villains. I love the villains. Apart from Tyrion. And Watts is okay. Adam's horrible, I hate him. But other than that, I love the villains pretty much. They're all good. I mean, they're not good, that's the point, but you get it. I love Emerald so much. Like, she's honestly one of my favourite characters, but barely anyone seems to actually like her. I think there are like 5 Emerald stands in existence. And like, luckily for me, I managed to meet some of the only Emerald stands in existence. But it's just, she must, like, when she made that like horrible, fantastically horrible, I loved how creepy and how it broke and screamed. I loved that. I thought, fantastic. But that wasn't even a kiss, but you get it. Like in Volume 5, that finale of that illusion of Salem. You're like, wow, Emerald is terrified of Salem, and we hadn't really been given an exact sort of reason why. Like we saw her kill Lionheart, but like I wasn't particularly, I don't know, I'm not really scared of her now, but I can definitely see why. I think if I was in the room when she was like flipping tables and stuff, and making like these arm things in the intro, which are a real thing and not symbolic, the more you know, making those arm things come out the ground and just like wrap round Hazel's face and just like pin him down. It's if I saw that happen in real life, then yeah, I'd be out of there. That would definitely scare me. That would be terrifying. And you can tell how terrified Emerald is because she just throws Cinder under the bus, and we all know that Emerald, let's say she has a thing about Cinder. Let's say she has a thing for Cinder. I think that's a bit of a understatement, but she definitely has a fixation. So for her to just be like, yes, it was Cinder's fault, it was all Cinder's fault, the blame is on Cinder, it's, wow. She seems to care about Cinder more than herself, which is sad. So for her to just literally throw her under the bus to, like, survive is, yeah, Emerald is scared. We have some quality scared Emerald facial expressions as well. Someone please hug my girl. Oh dear. But yeah, we also got some good Mercury moments there. And like, here's where I'm at with Mercury. I don't stan him, but I'm close to it. I was literally like, before the Volume 5 finale, I was literally just like, no, he's annoying, he's mean, but not in a fun way. He's not like a fun villain, he's just a bit of a dick. I don't like him. And then he had to just go and do that. Emerald. He had to care about Emerald. He's like one of the only people that care about Emerald in the entire world. So I'm like, I guess Mercury is valid now. So yeah, we get a bit more of Mercury caring about people, which is nice. I like that. I like him being a bit more three-dimensional. I like the idea of whatever his relationship is with the other villains, him just being like concerned over Emerald and wanting her to be okay and being shocked about Cinder, and then just being like, you know, him having emotions. It's really nice to see. And he doesn't like Tyrion, which is like mood. Mood. But Mercury is starting to be a good boy. Emerald I'm so scared for. And also, Salem just straight up like, was like, oh yeah, Cinder's alive. How did you know that? Like, don't question me. But yeah, everyone legitimately thought she just died, which must have been rough on the dynamic duo, because I mean, we knew Emerald cared about her. Mercury seemed a bit shocked as well, so it's going to be painful for at least one of them. I don't know if Mercury was particularly attached, but even then he must be like, well, that's a bit messed up, just, you know, like, we know she's alive and needs help, but you're just going to let her, no, okay, we're not going to help her at all. You're just going to let her drag herself out that hole. I mean, yeah, Cinder very much, like, deserves that and worse, but, like, in terms of, if this is, like, your evil family, just leaving her there, it's cold. It's very cold. Yeah, we've got Hazel being we knew he was, like, one of the most nobler villains anyway, so I appreciate Dad Hazel trying to protect his traumatised, morally dubious children. I like Hazel being a dad to Emerald. Someone needs to love and appreciate Emerald. Oh dear. Yeah. Also, Tyrion. I said I don't like him, but he's just, I don't know, he's disturbing, and it's not in a fun way. It's not like, like, if Cinder kills someone, she'll do it, and she'll make a big deal out of it and create drama and make it entertaining, and then, like, Tyrion's, like, almost orgasming when someone cuts his face, and I'm like, I am kink shaming, get that away from here, I don't want that. Oh, it's a good job I don't try to monetize my videos if I say stuff like that, but yeah, so they're valid, and now I'm just like, what's Emerald gonna do? Because obviously she's very much scared for her own safety, and Salem's made it clear that she'll mess some of them up if things head south. But what are the villains gonna do with this knowledge that Cinder's out there chilling? Well, she's not chilling, she's very emo, she's very upset and angry, which is, yeah, post-volume 3 Cinder. But I am curious what they're going to do with that information. I mean, Emerald is probably even wants to go and help her, which is like the worst thing. Like, Emerald, honey, don't be obsessed with Cinder. It's not good for you. It's not healthy. But yeah, I want the next episode. I really want it, but I'm gonna have to wait now. I'm so upset. Are they gonna be okay? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my ramblings. Sorry, my videos are so long. I get excited. I care about the characters. I get too attached, and I just keep talking and talking. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, or at least, like, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Without any spoilers for next episode, or anything, like, just no spoilers, just, what do you think a character's going to do? What do you think of this character? Do you think this character was right? Do you think this character was wrong? Just anything. Throw it out there. Or, yeah, just, what do you think of the volume so far? Just anything. But, yeah, I hope you had fun. Hope you have a good day.